Good afternoon again. I'm Anjana Gopakumar, and it is with great pleasure that I invite all of you to the first ever media and entertainment track here at TiEcon 2025. I'm honored to chair this track along with the legendary tech leader, Shalini Govalpai, who unfortunately is not here with us today. I'm also thrilled to present before you an engaging 2 hours at the intersection of creativity, technology, and innovation. We'll kick things off with a keynote address by Kiran Mani, an inspiring leader and CEO of JioStar, who will share bold insights on the future of streaming, storytelling, and technological innovation in a rapidly evolving media landscape. Then we'll dive into a dynamic panel discussion on creativity and tech innovation within entertainment, featuring top minds from both the creative and tech sides of the industry. Finally, our fireside chat on AI and the future of visual effects, a candid conversation unpacking how generative tools and machine learning are reshaping the boundaries of what's possible on screen. Without further ado, let me invite Kiran to the stage for our keynote. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone had a good lunch. First of all, a huge thank you to Anjana and Shalini for having us here and helping inaugurate the first ever media and entertainment track. For those of you, I think all of you in this audience have in some way a connection with India. And you would relate when I tell you this. In India, content is not a passive entertaining experience. Content is an involved storytelling experience. Content shapes societies. Content actually fuels the Indian dream. So for many people, content is hope. Content is the way in which they look at the world. It's a lens in which they understand societies, they learn about the world. And for us in JioStar, we don't look at content as a lens of a social media passive entertainment platform. We look at this as consciously shaping society, and we take a great amount of pride in building not only the part of the content that we get in, but also making it available in the hands of 1.4 billion people, making sure that that content is relevant for them, it's interactive, and it is something in which they truly see not only value, but also meaning. And meaning is the most important part of it as well. I think our journey has been about 6 months old as a new company as JioStar. For those of you who don't know our history, we actually were the merger of 2 companies in India, Viacom and Disney Hotstar. Both on the technology side of things, on the TV side of things, that means we have about 100+ television channels. For those of you who have grown up in India, this is very much the part of the Indian cultural zeitgeist for the Star TVs and Colors TV and Asianet and we basically have a storytelling capability that comes from literally every part of India. And now with the digital world, we actually bring that to life through, earlier it was 2 apps, which we had an app called JioCinema and an app called Disney Hotstar, which we bought together. And my story today is more about the world of what we have done in that entire journey. And hopefully through that, we are also able to tell the story about from a country which is rich in its culture of storytelling, and when it meets the possibilities of the world of technology and AI, we genuinely believe that we are in a moment which is ready for explosive growth and infinite possibilities. And we believe that Indian storytelling is coming of age. And I hope I can unpack a little bit of that story for you. While I talk about the entire opportunity, the one thing about winning in India is, again, for all of you here in India, no, India is not one country. It's one country as a nation, yes. But India is 1.4 billion people. It may be one country, but as a content story, you have to personalize it to the order of one. That means that the amount of magnitude of complexity that you have to navigate is almost untold. But I think all of us here as Indians can recognize one thing. Every Indian knows when there is value being delivered, and they also adopt to that value with velocity. I think if there is one thing about our success story in India, it has primarily it's not about technology, it's not about content, but it's very much about velocity meeting value. I think those are the two cornerstones culturally as a company that we allude to. We do things, we experiment fast, we fail fast, we move with velocity, and in everything that we do, our guiding cornerstone is to actually provide extreme value. Before I go in here, our story started in November, somewhere in mid-November, when the two companies came together. At that time, we had India's #1 and #2 OTT platforms, both having about 200 million plus monthly active users. I have our CTO and chief architect here who will tell you the gory stories of this, but I'll share the fun parts of this. Within 90 days, we actually integrated these two mega platforms into one single platform, and we gave it birth on February 14th. While that velocity or the speed at which we moved is there to see, I don't think we were ever ready to see the kind of value that we unlocked. Normally, when you bring in two entertainment platforms which are about the same size, you normally see that when they come together, 1 + 1 is never 2. But in just 30 days after launch, our platform has consistently delivered 400 million active users. When we merged, we were a platform with about 45 million subscribers. Today, 5 months in, we are a platform which is 280 million subscribers, making it one of the largest subscription media and entertainment platforms anywhere in the world. During this period, we are known for bringing live entertainment to the fold. I think that's a forte that we have. We actually delivered the world's largest live streaming event. We broke a world record. We had 61 million viewers for the India Champions Trophy finals, which is the highest watched concurrent streaming sporting event anywhere in the world. I'll also share with you a little bit of what that success shows as numbers. Take a look at this.
Don't just make an app. Build a country of believers. Give people reasons to migrate. Give people reasons to stay. Reach for the moon and land on the moon. Maybe further. Add great content. Add content they've never seen before. Hit refresh. Again and again and again. Keep adding till they have the stories they want and deserve. Till there's something for everyone. Take it to the metros, to the big towns, to the towns with less than 1 million. Take it as far as your vision takes. Break the news, break the internet, make restlessness your ally. Change the game, reinvent the experience, reward them for it. Sit back, breathe. Get up, get back to work, till you find your next record to break. Become your greatest competition. And that's how you change the way the world watches.
When we started this journey, the one thing which we knew was we didn't have the option to do anything slow. We also knew that any of the global playbooks which were already available on how to do content business or how to do the technology business of content is not going to work for us. Nothing actually got us prepared for doing the kind of complexity of dealing with India or also the technology that was required to do things in such a short period of time. We also knew what we weren't capable of. We also knew we didn't have the tools to execute what we wanted to do in a short period of time. And this is where I'm so incredibly grateful for the partners who stood by us during this period of time. We could not have done this without our telecom partners, without our technology partners, our cloud partners. If any one of you is here in this room, on behalf of the entire JioStar team, thank you. If I put this in a parable of English language, you needed all the 26 alphabets to come together to make words and tell stories. We decided that we will never have the capability of producing all those 26 alphabets. Our success is only focusing on the 5 vowels. We only focus on the A, E, I, O, U, and we let our partners bring in the alphabets. And through that, we created the symphony which we hoped that India will sing and dance with us. And what I'm going to do in the next few slides or the few minutes is actually just give you a sense of what that A, E, I, O, U meant for us. A key part of success in India is ensuring that having that content accessibility across 1.4 billion people. And that is an incredibly complex world. If you have to reach 1.4 billion Indians across India, that means you have to work across televisions, connected TVs, mobile phones from 150 plus manufacturers. There is, unlike the other parts of the world where there is homogeneity of operating systems, in India that doesn't happen. You have to make sure that if you're streaming an event, it has to work on 2-inch screens on mobile phones, which are roughly in the range of about $25 US, to all the way to 200-inch screens. Our technology team actually makes the entire IPL live stream, which is a cricket live stream, happen on 2-inch $25 mobile phones. And that works off an operating system which doesn't exist in any other parts of the world. So I think the key part of our success has been, it begins with the fact that we are very, very proud of the fact that no one does distribution of premium content the way we do. And that has meant that we partner with the entire ecosystem of manufacturers, OEMs, small, large, to ensure that our app works across it. Speak to a CTO on the sidelines of this event and he will tell you what seems like one app, there are at least 1,000 versions of those apps so that it is adapted and it is customized to ensure that 1.4 billion people can access it. This is a key part of that success, ensuring that we are available on fingertips, remote tips, so that when you want to watch a piece of premium content, we're just a fingertip away for people. On top of that access layers, we work with multiple partners to layer in experiences. One of the things that has always amazed us is the exact same content. Many of us have grown up in India watching soap operas like Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, family stories, operas. And the exact same story, even today, applies in India. While we talk about premium content, we talk about short stories and short series and movies which are cutting edge and sports that have come in. The growth of the bread and butter content that India has grown up watching, that we have watched, our parents watching on itself, still is a growing audience in India. But what we have done with that content, with the infusion of technology, is what was earlier lean back, watch on one TV content, is now available on VOD, catch up, interactivity. While you form long form, you can also catch up on key moments. You can catch up on catch-up TV. You can actually layer in your long form content with key form, which is, suppose you come to a cricket match today, you may be coming into the match late. While the live stream is happening, there are 30-second key moments available which allows you to quickly catch up with the content before you start continuing with the live stream. And we make this available on entertainment as well. Language options. The first time when we went to the Hollywood studios, whose content we bring to India, and said, hey, we would like to adapt your content to Indian languages, they were a little surprised by that. They actually said, this content lends well in English, maybe a few languages, we will give it a try. Can you take a guess? What is the #1 language in which Hollywood movies are watched in India? It's Hindi. And what's the #2 language in which Hollywood movies are watched in India? It's Tamil. So, talk about the power of all our content library is now available across 12 languages, which means that's what is required in terms of reaching the exact same content, the exact same storytelling, just the fact of language adaptability. And while we do all of this, we have to do that all these experiential factors are provided at a cost which allows us to make this business sustainable. If you actually come to watch cricket in India, you don't just watch it on one single big screen. There are 14 different camera angles which allows you to watch the match in an angle that interests you. There are 12 different live streams that are running of the same match in 12 different languages going on. On top of that, we also have hangout feeds. We bring in feeds so that the sport is now accessible or more interesting for family members, women, so that it doesn't become just an experience that is meant for someone who's a deeply involved sports enthusiast. So all of this has meant that the exact same content which was watched probably 18 years ago on one screen in probably 2 languages, Today is an experience that is interactive. I say that, what was a lean back man cave moment, which was IPL and cricket, is now a lean forward, interactive moment across 1 billion screens. And that's what the power of technology has enabled us to do. Now, what this has also meant, technology has also meant that it has given us wings to actually try new forms of content and new forms of entertainment. So we had the live streaming capability that we used to do for cricket. A few months ago, one of our colleagues came up and said, hey, Coldplay is in India, and they're doing this they were doing a 4-city event. The moment actually happened because when their ticket sales opened up, actually their entire tickets sold out in 1.5 minutes. So then we turned around and said, what do we do with the pent-up demand? And we turned around and said, you know what, can we live stream a live music event? Technologically, we didn't know what we were getting into, simply because it's one thing to actually do a live sporting event because it's more visual, but when you actually do a live music event, it's more audio. And that meant that we had to completely reimagine the technology behind it. But because we had a capability factor which was used for sport, the adaptability and the layering that we could do has meant that we could actually bring new experiences. Live events has now become a full calendar of experiences with us. In fact, a few weeks ago, we did Mahashivratri. We actually live streamed from 12 Jyotirlings across India, along with multiple cities that were celebrating Shivratri. We brought it together in one single live stream where people could watch. Technology plus doing different forms of content has taught us that we could actually invent new experiences which people haven't earlier thought about as possible in a world of entertainment. Our content library is about 340,000 hours of premium content, and it's constantly growing. And this is required in order to cater for 1.4 billion people. If you actually go to different states in India and you were to form an infinite loop of content for them, then you have to have the library capabilities that, as I said, personalizes to the order of one. So this has meant that we now have year-long sporting events across cricket, soccer, kabaddi, Indian football, table tennis, name it. There's a year-long calendar of sports available. There is no other country in the world where all the 4 big Hollywood studios come together and there's a hub for Hollywood content. We are very, very happy to partner with HBO, Peacock, Paramount Pictures, the entire Hollywood library, Disney. We bring the whole Hollywood library together. Now you layer on that with the content that comes across 100 television channels. Then you layer on top of that movies, then the live events. Now we are doing a whole sorts of experiment with India's premium content creators by giving them the right to produce their own IPs and bring those shows along. Everything that I told you till now, providing access across 1.4 billion screens, providing a content library this large, layering it with all the technology experiences that I spoke about, all of this costs. And this is where, for us, doing all of this at an extreme value, and when I use the word extreme, I cannot even, I lived here in the Bay Area for a decade. And I thought I understood the concept of value because I grew up in India, I grew up in a lower middle class household, and I thought I understood value till I got it all redefined when I visited India. Even cents are expensive. It is to that extent that you have to be cost sensitive in order to be able to offer this kind of scale. I want to show you an example of a 2.5-hour movie that was a 30-second clip from a 2.5-hour movie that was done by a spiritual organization in India to tell their story. Watch the clip and then I will tell you the story that will blow your mind.
In the midst of turmoil, one man sees the truth. The world is a mirror of human consciousness, and the only way forward is within. As his consciousness expands, its impact spreads, touching lives, awakening communities, and igniting a global movement. When challenges threaten to disrupt the movement, they stand rooted in compassion, resilience, and harmony. Like the first light of dawn, transformation begins quietly. But once it arrives, everything changes.
What blew my mind when I heard about this story, this is a 2.5-hour movie generated totally by ML and AI. It was made by 6 volunteers, out of which only 1 had video editing skills. The other 5 were volunteers who were doing a job. It was made with 6 of them sharing one NVIDIA graphics card because they couldn't afford more. They couldn't afford buying subscriptions on multiple AI services, so they used all freeware. This movie cost 0. And the entire characters that you see in this movie are recreated from a 70-year-old black and white album. They're real faces. They were reinvented from a 70-year-old black and white album which they had their history, and they retold the story. I was there when this movie was premiered there, and we had people, in the audience who were 80+ octogenarians who knew these people live, and you could see tears in their eyes because they actually said that the characters were so real. They have even aged these characters. They took those pictures and they have aged them using machine learning AI. Think about the possibilities that is existing in a market like India, which is rich in its storytelling capabilities, which is teeming with creators, with the creator economy ready to boom. Imagine what these tools can do to storytelling in the coming years. And this is why we believe we are in a moment that we feel extremely responsible, that we are no longer in the business of just doing streaming and entertainment. We are in the business of actually exploring a completely new industry and taking the story into a global level. So this is why we so deeply believe that velocity, when it meets value, is when true magic happens in India. Let me talk a little bit more about the outsized value, not just in the form of how we produce content, how we keep costs low. Now let's talk about making all of this monetizable and how to make this sustainable from an audience perspective. A story of going from 50 million subscribers to 280 million subscribers has meant a few things. Number one, even with 1.3 billion people, India's subscription markets were always stuck around the 50, 60 million mark. And there was already a narrative emerging which said that, India is probably, people may not be able to afford it. India could be capping off at about 60 million. You need to skim the top of India. So we decided that anyone who comes in, unlike a typical OTT platform, we actually said that we will allow every single viewer to come in and start watching for free. So every single month, you actually get to watch all the content across the platform for free for a few hours. And post which, so the philosophy that we adopted was a retail philosophy. You don't make a person pay to walk into a store. We said, let them come into the store, let them experience. If they see value, then we will charge them. You don't like it once, you leave, you come back the next month, you experience it again. And that has meant that people are getting far more comfortable with the concept because you have to get comfortable before you offer them to pay. Our subscription packs start at 67 cents per month. Because you have to make sure, and that was again a very conscious call, saying that if we don't keep it at a price point that is truly accessible to all Indians, all this library is for waste. So we didn't have a choice. Velocity is not a choice. It's not a fashionable statement. The only way you can make this value work is when it has a velocity of 200 million plus subscribers come in. So velocity is essential in order to provide value at this extreme level. We also make sure that our promise to our customers is very clear that all the content comes with advertising. And the reason for that is the only way you can make such a large library available. But then we also work with advertisers to ensure that advertising in India is not like in any other market, which is not plain selling. It's a storytelling in itself. So a lot of us, when we do big events like IPL, there is an entire creative team that works with our advertisers to ensure that the storytelling, the narrative, the brand story that they say is intricately intertwined with the content that we provide. In spite of all of this we have done, I can still tell you there is so much more to be done in terms of truly unlocking the value of India. What excites us, and this is my last slide. What excites us in this journey is that in everything that we have done in the last 4 or 5 months, we truly believe is just the beginning of many, many, many more things to come. For those of you who ever go and experience our app, we are the first people to admit it still seems very basic. So there are so many customers who give us feedback saying that, oh my God, the personalization still has a long way to go. Oh, you could do this, you could do that. A lot of features come in. And we take all that feedback. We're just beginning on this journey. But I think the key part is when you focus on those two principles of velocity and value, India has a gold mine to unlock. We genuinely believe that we are entering a golden age where India's rich history of storytelling is going to meet the possibilities of AI. We don't pride ourselves to own any IP or any of these capabilities. But what we do is we focus on those 5 wobbles. We make sure that the basics are done well so that the partners who come onto a platform are able to use this and provide velocity and are able to explode and are able to find their audiences. So whether it is users, whether it is partners, or whether it is for ourselves, we believe in unlocking infinite possibilities, and we invite you all, whether you are in India, whether you are in the Bay Area, come join us in this wonderful experience. Thank you.
It's showtime now.
Thank you so much, Kiran, for connecting those dots between sports and entertainment, which is a randomly changing landscape.
Yes.
Also another problem in India and South Asia, the access to content and the principle of where velocity meets value. On behalf of everyone here at TiEcon 2025, and especially the media and entertainment track, we wish you and Akash and everyone at JioStar all the very best for JioStar's future.
Thank you.
We have time for maybe 2 questions for Kiran, if anyone in the audience wants to ask questions.
Thank you so much. That was an amazing presentation, and it does feel like you're just scratching the surface of what's possible. My question for you is, that's quite a significant amount of content that you have, and given the geography of India and the price sensitivity and optimization, has this also turned your business into kind of an IT infrastructure business, or do you partner with data centers, and are they amongst your strategic partners to scale this?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I do feel that technology is actually a competitive advantage in order to make this content both accessible and a cost-effective way. I'll give you a small example, right? If you really have to personalize such a large content library and make it available for India, I think we accidentally touched upon this. One of the things that, if you follow the sport of cricket like baseball, it's a very technical sport, so you have to have a lot of data behind it. So one of the things that we do on the cricket side of things is every ball that's bowled in a cricket is actually tagged to 90 pieces of data. So there's a whole bunch of metadata that comes in, which means You want to watch a 4s package, a 6 package, you want to watch your favorite star. There's multiple ways in which you can do voice search, discovery, etc. And that's when we started asking the question, what if we do the same thing with our overall content library on the entertainment side? And this has actually meant that how we sweat content, and not just, any content that's not watched by anybody is new content for that person. And suddenly your reliance on saying that you need to have a constant library of new content coming in has kind of faded away. That it's only a question of saying that personalization, you need to know your user, you need to know your content well. So we do believe that our technology partnerships, our ability to provide things of data centers, and our ability to actually bring it down in some way sweats content over a much longer period of lifetime. I mean, I'm not even getting into the technology aspects that allows us to monetize that content in a much better way. But truly, I think content in itself, in its old stream, was subject to a viewership pattern and a monetization pattern that was very limited. Now, the exact same content explodes across, multiple different ways and possibilities.
Awesome. Thank you.
We can take one more question.
Hi. Thank you for the presentation, and definitely it was very exciting. I would like to know, how are you connected with the Waves, which is being a platform for the entertainment, and that doesn't include sports, I believe. I have not seen in the Waves.
Sorry, sir, what?
Waves. There is a Waves event at
Yes.
Mumbai.
Yes.
Inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Yes.
That dwells into kind of thing you have been doing, but that does not include sports, to my knowledge. I have not seen anybody talking about sports there. They are talking about audio, video, and the content creators and the actors and those kinds of things. So are you involved in that, and what would be the approach you would take if you do so?
So we are deeply involved with the Waves event. And one of the things about the timing of Waves is it coincides with the largest cricketing event that is happening in India, which is IPL. So I think probably you're seeing a miss of cricket not being present in Waves only because most of the cricketers and ex-cricketers are involved in a very different sporting event that goes on for 80 plus days. But no, I don't think Waves has been only, by the way, Waves is not just, we believe that Waves was a way to actually bring India's technology, media, entertainment capability to the world. The platform was set for actually, think about this as the CES of India. And we hope that in multi-years time, that actually becomes a showcase of what India is capable of delivering. I think we had a small part to play along as Jio as a company and JioStar as an entity. And we have tried our best in terms of showcasing our capabilities across, it's not just a technology capability, but everything that you heard today, there is much more in which we have unpacked that at that event.
Just to add, it is at the Jio Center, World Center. So
Yes.
that would be a icing on the cake.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kiran.